Robert Presley, Darrell Waltrip, Ward Burton, and Jimmy Spencer. Bobby Labonte had slipped back to 5th position. He has since made a pit stop for damage to the right front corner of his car, and the red flag is coming out.
Mike, just guessing, I would say they're going to have to stop and clean up turn 4. There's so much gravel and stuff, the car just literally can't get through the corner right now.
That being the case, Glenn Jarrett is on his way out to turn number 4. Give you a look at just what the trouble we've got down here. Some of the Busch Grand National officials are down there at the bottom of turn number 3 and 4. And maybe you can see here those real dark black specks. That you saw a second ago there. That's not the rubber that usually builds up on the outside of the track when you've been running on it a while. The rubber that comes off the tires, but those are little pieces and abrasions of the asphalt that's up there in the 4th corner, and the track is literally tearing up down there.
Mike, and to really emphasize the point, just before this thing went on the air, they cleaned that track. There was not one speck on it. They had it perfectly clean, and right now it looks like you're running through snow. You just put down a track when you go through it. They've got their hands full. Here comes the tractor around.
Let's go right down to the scene. Glenn?
Well, you guys are exactly right. The track is tearing up something awful. As quick as you see the tractor going by there, I'm going to scoop up a handful of this stuff. It's pretty bad. I've never seen a track tear up this quick. If we can maybe get a camera on this stuff. This is just a few of the pebbles that you're seeing. This is all through, starting into turn 3, all the way through 3, the middle of 3 and 4, and all the way off. There's only one lane on the racetrack. If the camera can see, you can see where these cars have skidded up there into the wall. Once they get up into that stuff, there's no controlling the race car. You're absolutely at the mercy of G-forces and gravity. Just whenever it wants to stop, it's going to stop. And that's it. This is a mess down here.
Now, that's the aggregate. The pavement's composed of a binder, an asphalt and oil-based binder, and the aggregate, these small bits of stones that make up asphalt paving. And it apparently Neil just hasn't had enough time to cure and to set to where it's causing these problems up in 3 and 4. And you can see how the groove is clean down near the yellow line, and there's all this bits of loose pavement up there, and it's like trying to drive on marbles. Here's Bobby Labonte.
Here's Labonte going down in the outside of the corner. He's going down, that's down in turn number 1. And here he comes coming up off of 2. He damaged his right front fender, and he must be right here when he got into this car. Or else on down in here. He got into the outside, and now he's out there in no man's land. That's that slippery stuff.
Leading the race, lapping Ricky Craven. There he goes.
Just like it doesn't have a steering wheel. There he goes sliding up there. And you see how slow he slowed down. And look behind him, the tracks he made in the rocks and stuff. It's just, once you get out there, there's no control in the car. That little John Deere tractor might have a shot at this thing if they can get a number on it after a while.
Now, that happened to Labonte before he stove in the right front tire, which happened after he lost the lead. So we're under a red flag with Steve Grissom leading, Robert Presley second, Darrell Waltrip third, and Ward Burton fourth, with just 35 laps completed. Despite today's troubles, this track has a rich history of NASCAR Winston Cup racing. Before he was King Richard, well, the blue car, that's Richard Petty, battling along with Curtis Turner at 41 and Elmo Langley in 64 here in 1966. We'll be right back. Stopped at 35 laps complete on the scoreboard. Steve Grissom, Robert Presley, Waltrip, Burton, and Spencer. That's the front 5. Butch Miller running 6th. He started 9th. Chuck Bown looks real different without his mustache. I think it's been 15 years since he didn't have one. Jeff Gordon, now at 20 years old, Jeff went up to Chuck and says, now, do you mean I got to shave mine? I've had mine for 20 years, too. Of course, he's only 20. Tom Peck is 9th, and Mike Wallace running in the 10th spot. Ed Ferree, Jimmy Hensley, big news from the Hensley camp. We'll get to that in a bit here. Bobby Dotter, Ernie Irvan, and Joe Nemechek. That's the top 15. And then Jim Bown, who now says his older brother looks younger than he does, sans mustache. Scott Kilby, the local driver, Jeff Burton, Kenny Wallace, and Tracy Leslie. That's the top 20 here. And cars on the lead lap go all the way back through Tommy Houston. And then Bobby Labonte, you still see the right front of that car torn up a bit.
Mike, if people were watching the rundown and wonder what happened to Nemechek, at the same time, Tommy Houston was having trouble in turn 4 right at the start-finish line. Nemechek got in the wall. He lost it in turn 4 and hit the wall, so he fell way back also.
Welcome back to Hickory, where the track cleanup is just about complete, and they're beginning to roll the cars from the back straightaway. This copyrighted telecast of the Mountain Dew 500 is produced under TV rights granted by Hickory Motor Speedway and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any retransmission or reuse of the pictures, accounts, or descriptions of this event without the express written consent of the Nashville Network is prohibited. we're getting set to go back to green. We'll check with Glenn Jarrett here in a moment just on what the thoughts are up and down pit road. One thing we do know is that the tire rule that was in effect, which mandated a 2-lap penalty for changing tires under caution, has been lifted by NASCAR for the duration of the event. What with the deterioration of the racetrack and the increased opportunity for tires being cut down due to the abrasion up there in 3 and 4, they've lifted the tire rule, and I think that's a good thing, Neil.
Mike, that's just strictly a safety feature. With these little pebbles out there, there's a lot more chance of flat tires, and the guys normally would have to stretch it, just try to wait for a caution or something, but now if they have a problem, they come directly in.
A couple of cars coming on pit road. Jeff Burton is one of those. Scott Kilby, the local driver, as well. A sad note to report. Tommy Houston's father, Clyde, passed away last night up here in Hickory. Tommy, a native here of town. I had to take time out from family preparations to come here and run the race. We'll attend the wake tonight and the funeral tomorrow, and our condolences to the entire Houston family.
Here these guys are right now, Mike, taking advantage. They just lifted the rule. And as soon as we announce it, the guys are taking advantage. They put some new tires on. You're probably going to see a lot of these guys go with new rubber on these cars.
And I think a couple of them just got caught, Neil. Jeff Burton and Jack Sprague made pit stops, did not beat the pace car to the end of pit road, and may have gone a lap down.
The cars, I tell you what's going to be a tough row to hoe right here is the cars that are a lap down on a short track like this go to the outside. Earnhardt was a lap down while ago. He's pulled outside of Grissom, but that outside lane has been so treacherous. You see the 15 car outside of Grissom, it's going to be hard to go out there.
Tracy Leslie on pit road as we take the green for the restart. I believe that Tracy's still in the car. We'll double check on that with Glenn in a bit. We're back under green. Grissom is the leader. Robert Presley is second. Darrell Waltrip now up to third. And one car, Jim Bown, spinning up in turn 1. No caution, trouble in 4. And Ferree, Ernie Irvan. And here comes the pack. You know, it's going to be one of those days.
Mike, they're spinning on each end of the racetrack at the same time. But every time we have a caution, it's in several different places. Man, I tell you what, it won't take very much of this for these officials to have to decide to do something.
Ed Ferree spun his car at turn number 4. Ernie Irvan could not avoid him. Took the rear bumper cover almost off Ferree's car. That's just a piece of soft plastic, so no real damage there. I'll have to come in and pull that off. Ferree from Saxonburg, Pennsylvania. Hopeful of a strong run here today. Caution is out. It's 4th caution in 40 laps.
Mike, that, you know, up in turn 3, we just had that trouble. That might not even be track related on a restart like that. They're really stacked up and could have been something else.
So Grissom leading, Presley in second, Waltrip now third. And while we're under caution, we'll take this break from Hickory Motor Speedway.